Ever wonder what really happened to the Hobus star seen in Star Trek 2009? Did it ever make you want to scratch your head and say, how did the Romulans not know that a star so close to them was going to go supernova? Well, today we're going to be talking about what really happened to the Hobus star and why the Romulus and Remus planets were destroyed almost without warning. But with that being said, I do want to go ahead and give a warning that this video will contain spoilers for the popular MMORPG known as Star Trek Online. So if you don't want to be spoiled, go ahead and click out of this video and check out another one on the channel. Okay, on stardate 64333.4, the crew of the Romulan mining guild starship Narada, who were mining Hobus 1 for the rare mineral decalithium, observed core temperature fluctuations emanating from the Hobus system's sun. The data gathered from the Narada was dispatched to Romulus prior to the sun going supernova. With this data, it was determined by Ambassador Spock that while the suns going supernova were a common occurrence in space, the energy being generated by the Hobus sun would potentially be unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen before. The theory at the time was that a combination of decalithium and supernova energies might have caused a massive, never-before-seen explosive power. 27 hours after stardate 64444.5, the Hobus star exploded, the power proving to be even more than what was originally theorized by Spock and Vulcan scientists. The supernova's effects propagated through subspace at multiple warp speeds, destroying the planets of Romulus and Remus. On stardate 64471.6, Ambassador Spock, using the prototype jellyfish equipped with red matter, created a black hole, absorbing the exploding star and ending the threat to the galaxy. As mandated by the Federation Science Council, Starfleet conducts annual surveys of the Hobus Nebula. In the early 2400s, Admiral Janeway commanded one such mission aboard the Excalibur-class USS Tucker. Janeway classified Hobus as a Type 1 supernova with unexplained light speed properties. In other words, the wave being able to propagate outwards at multiple warp speeds was something that no natural supernova should be able to do. This survey began to uncover evidence that the Hobus star wasn't just victim of natural cosmic events. Instead, it appeared that other forces were in play leading up to this horrific incident. But before we get into that evidence, we need to take a look at the status of the Romulan Star Empire. After Shinzon's failed attempt at ruling, the Empire was in a serious level of disarray. Several prominent members of the Imperial Navy attempted to take control and declare themselves praetor. This led to some intense infighting, and while the Federation attempted to keep tabs on this new Romulan civil war, much information gained was either wrong or only partially complete. In the end, two prominent figures appeared to rise up for control: Donatra and Tolora, both groups desperate to restore order and control of the Empire and to destroy any dissidents. To that end, Admiral Taris of the Tolora group, along with her right-hand man Hakiv, began to investigate the possibility of an Iconian intervention to end the civil war and restore order. Unbeknownst to Taris, however, Hakiv was in cahoots with Sela and the Alachi to bring the Iconians in and subjugate all Romulans and the entire quadrant. So let's take a look at this evidence. While secretly studying an Iconian gateway in the Hobus system, Hakiv decided to supposedly detonate a bomb inside of the system's sun in an effort to directly contact the Iconians. How that was supposed to work I couldn't tell you, but that was his plan. This explosion was the start of the Hobus Supernova. It's unclear if Hakiv really knew the full destructive potential of the Hobus star, but he was single-handedly responsible for its inception. Seeking to continue his mission for the Iconians and the Alachi, Hakiv pinned the entire supernova on Taris and made her believe that the research into the Iconian gateway is what caused the explosion. While Taris, stricken by grief, attempted to travel back in time to correct their supposed mistake, Hakiv decided to shack up with the newly appointed Empress Sela. It wasn't until the end of 2409 that the Quadrant was made aware of Hakiv's true intentions, Taris's role in everything, and the reality of the Hobus Supernova. This, of course, was made by revelations of Hakiv's inability to keep his mouth shut when talking to Federation contacts and other Reman and Romulan Republic forces. He regularly boasted about how it was him and Taris were the ones that caused the eventual Hobus Supernova from destroying Romulus and Remus. And because of this cavalier-type attitude, that all forces in the region began to seriously investigate and then eventually uncover the hard evidence proving that Hakiv's story was right, and that Taris and him were essentially behind the entire event that caused the deaths of millions. Eventually, Federation and Romulan Republic forces pursued Sela and her dog Hakiv through the entire Quadrant, eventually putting an end to their reign of terror and silencing the last remnants of the Romulan Civil War. So there you have it. That is the real story about what happened to the Hobus Supernova. This thing came out so fast and so hot and so powerful that nobody could have even predicted what was really going on because nobody really had all the information. It wasn't aware. Spock and the Vulcan scientists were not aware of the fact that Hakiv and his friend Taris were experimenting with Iconian tech, and then Hakiv decided to detonate a decalithium bomb inside of the sun. Nobody knew that information. Had they did, I think it could have also potentially ended the Romulan Civil War on a much faster and peaceful scale. Alas, it wasn't until almost 10 years after the destruction of Romulus and Remus that this information leaked out, and I think that as a Quadrant, it helped heal a lot of the open wounds and a lot of the mysticism and mistrust that the different Romulan colonies and the Romulan republics felt towards each other, with final answers as to what really happened on those, on that fateful day of the Hobus Supernova. I think it helped reunify both the Remans and the Romulans onto their new Mol Rihan planet. Anyways, guys and gals, that concludes today's discussions videos. I am curious to hear what all of you think about this. This was, of course, all explained in the Star Trek Online MMORPG. This was also partially explained in the Star Trek Countdown comic book series that led up to Star Trek 2009, but most of it happened inside of Star Trek Online in a various set of missions where we learn the true fate of Donatra, Sela, Hakiv, and Taris, and you as the player are the one that uncovers all of the hard evidence that I talked about earlier that pinpoint Hakiv to being the reason that the Hobus Supernova actually happened. So I'm curious to hear what all of you guys and gals think of this explanation. Do you like the fact that Star Trek Online decided to try to really explain away what a lot of people pointed to as a huge plot point, that was a plot hole, I should say, in Star Trek 2009? Or do you think that this is an implausible thing and that this was a bad attempt at trying to cover up poor writing in Star Trek 2009? I'm curious to hear what all of you guys and gals think about this. If you enjoyed this video, please throw a like and a subscribe up on the old YouTube, and follow me on Twitter at RealCatWalski, and I will see all of you guys and gals next time. Live long and prosper, my Trekkies!